I don't think
I
I
think it is
would.
interesting when you tend to believe you hold certain values, you stand for certain beliefs. But when you are put on a tight spot, you tend to abandon those values immediately. J.D. Vance appeared on the podcast The Diary of the CEO, and Stephen Pallet put him on a tight spot. And this was a question about family as a whole. And the question which he was asked is, what if, let's assume the United States was on not doing economically well. It was in a terrible position. And Mexico was doing extremely well. Would you not move to Mexico? If you are interested in this kind of videos, just go ahead, subscribe, like, and also don't forget to share. What could have been your response if you are one of those individuals? Either in your country of origin, native country is not doing well. Would you not move to the next country, to the next neighborhood, to fight for your well-being of the family? Observe what JD fans said about the situation.
I do think though, if my family were struggling or at all in danger or at risk, and there was an area of land over there that offered them a better chance, I personally think, for the sake of my family, if my family was struggling, I would try and move my family into that area. And I assume you would do the same. I assume you would, if your family, I've got this wonderful photo of your kids and your wife, where if America went to catastrophe and Mexico was doing great, would you not try and get into Mexico even if it wasn't, you didn't have a visa?
I don't think I would. I mean, I can understand why some people have to like move. You need to eat, you need to provide for your family, but
After observing that video, I thought I should come out and call JD Vance a liar. But after sitting on that out for some time, I realized that JD Vance said truly what he could have done. He could have stayed in the United States because that's how the United States is. And why am I saying this? Why would JD Vance decide to move to Mexico, which is an adjacent country, a next neighbor, when they can go ahead and take it? The United States as a country doesn't believe most individuals in the United States, more especially those who are in the lead positions, don't have this idea. It is an alien idea that if something happens to be good in Mexico, Mexico should have it, while it can go ahead and take it. And that's how the United States was built. Most of the resources or the lands which the United States is currently sitting on, this was taken from their neighboring. Some of them it was taken from the natives. So this idea that J.D. Vance, an individual who was the descendant of the individuals who took the property of other people, is alien. It's not something which is in the vocabulary of J.D. Vance. So J.D. Vance, Stephen Bartlett, asked a question which to most individuals they could have responded directly. If I saw there are opportunities in my adjacent neighbor and those opportunities I can access them, I would move there. And that's how the United States was built. Individuals or their descendants, individuals who are currently residing in the United States, who are now the natives, they are descendants of the people who migrated from Europe. And the main reason why they moved from Europe is Europe didn't have enough opportunities. So they decided to move to other countries, that is the United States, to seek for those opportunities. So this idea that J.D. Vance couldn't move to other developed country, let's say if Mexico was a developed or was doing better than the United States, is a lie, because that's exactly what his ancestors did. They moved to the United States, they massacred the natives, they killed the natives, and they took their land. And this is what J.D. Vance lives in. Instead of going to those countries and seeking opportunities and trying to blend in those countries, there's no need. We can go into those countries and take it. And that's why we have instability in the Middle East. That's why we have destabilization in Africa, because the United States Most of the time, it is behind the instability. They want to create chaos such that they can take the resources. They are too lazy to get out of their country and move into these places by not by bad intentions, but by trying to blend into these foreign countries and build or grow those countries. But for the United States, with the mindset of J.D. Vance, their main goal is to take it. That's why you are, for example, the United States going into Venezuela. They want to take those resources of Venezuela back to the United States. Even if the United States was stinging, they did that long time ago. They took the property of the natives, so they are taking care of that property. But since they don't have that stamina, energy to go and continue expanding, they are using the military means. So even if the world was crashing down on the United States, with J.D. Vance mindset, individuals, the Americans, can be okay for them to reside in the United States, but send their military to go and take resources from the Middle East, from Ukraine, from Russia, from other countries in Africa, and bring them back into the United States. So Stephen Bartlett was asked the right question, but he asked to an individual who has a different mindset. He was brought in a different environment, and what he believes is what the expansionists, the individuals who built the United States, believed in. Mexico will never be better. Mexico is an inferior race, is occupied by an inferior race. Instead of we, the Americans, going ahead and contaminating our blood, why can't we go through the military and take that resources or those opportunities back into the United States? That's my thought when it comes to J.D. Vance's response. Because if you are an individual who is strongly believing in family values, I believe it should be an imperative, you as an individual, to always prioritize your country even before your, not your country, but your family even before your country. Because if your well-being is not in place and of that of your family, how are you going to be patriotic to your own country? If you are more patriotic to your country compared to your family, then I believe you are following a cult. And probably JD Vance is in a cult of nationalism or whichever. Anyway, I would like your thoughts more especially on JD Vance's response that he would not move to Mexico because he is more patriotic to the United States. And this idea, he is more patriotic to the United States, and the United States was built on the belief that there were opportunities which the natives from Europe thought they were there in this foreign land and they moved into America. I believe JD Vance is trying to lie. Anyway, I wish you all the best. As usual, subscribe, like, share. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Don't forget to what? See you in my next one, Siku Njema.